Good morning. It's Thursday morning, Maundy Thursday. Today we're going to read from Luke 12:13 through 21. Someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Jesus said to him, "Man, who made me judge or arbitrator over you?" And he said to them, "Take care and be on your guard against all covetousness. For one's life does not consist in the abundance of possessions." And he told him a parable, saying, "The land of a rich man produced plentifully, and he thought to himself, 'What shall I do? For I have nowhere to store my crops.' And he said, 'I'll do this. I'll tear down my barns and build larger ones. And there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, and be merry.' But God said to him, 'Fool, this night your soul is required of you, and the things you've prepared, whose will they be? So is the one who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God.'" Yikes! That's a scary parable, isn't it? Jesus isn't trying to scare us. He's trying to show us by example the differences. Heard one time that somebody suggested a great sermon on that text would be titled, "Build Smaller Barns," but I've never worked out what that would look like. Well, anyway, you can see behind me all those books piled up, right? And then there are other books on the shelf. What's going on with my books? I'm trying to sort them, and in a couple months I'm going to move out of here. So some of them are going to a seminary, and some of them are going to a guy at another seminary, and some of them are going to yet a third seminary, and some of them I'm going to take home. So the ones piled up are the ones that made the first pass, but I have to go through them again and say, really, am I going to read this ever? So we have to sort through our stuff. And at home, we're sorting through all the junk and saying, where are we going to put any books? Okay, we'll clean out this area and make bookshelves. And, there's just a lot of stuff going on when you retire. If you think about moving, when you, downsize your household, when you move to a different house, a smaller house, if you get a divorce and then you've got to move to, an apartment. So there are all these occasions when we look at our stuff and say, I've got too much junk. I got to get rid of some of it. How do I do that? And what I find is you keep the stuff that really is meaningful, and the other stuff that someone gave you, you say, okay, bye. You don't miss it when it's gone. That's the key. You really don't miss it. Sometimes you miss, I wish I had that. We used to have this house and all this furniture. And now I've just got 2 rooms. But if I had all that furniture, I'd just be piled up and I'd be stumbling over it. So you want smaller stuff. You want less stuff. You want fewer things in your house. And Jesus says if you do that, if you have fewer things and less stuff in your pile, you'll be happier. And you will be. You don't have to keep track of all that junk and manage it and keep it clean and keep it organized and stored. We have a double garage and we can't park either car in there because we got all the stuff piled up in the garage. Most of the stuff in our garage, we have 1 car and we have 2 garages. So one's cleared for the car and the other's some stuff, but it's all stuff that's waiting to go somewhere, So it's a kind of, there's an order to it, and eventually it'll be cleaned out. So I know that's hard for some of us, especially if you are older and grew up during the Depression where, you saved everything because you never knew when you might need it, and you weren't going to have money to buy another one. So keep that piece of something and, reuse it some way. Or I know a lady who after her husband's funeral, we were at her apartment, and she took some tin foil off the top of a casserole, I guess, and she washed it off, And she opened this drawer. And the drawer was so full of tinfoil that she couldn't put one more piece on top and get the drawer to close. Now, this woman was in her late 80s, and her son said, "Mom, what are you doing?" "Well, I want to save this tinfoil in case I need it." He says, "Mom, you've got so much tinfoil, you won't live long enough to use up what you've already got." She thought about it for a minute, and she said, "Well, that's probably true." And then she slammed the drawer shut with the new tinfoil in it. So she didn't really get the message, but she did think about it. Think about that today. Think about building smaller barns. If you had to get rid of a third of your stuff, how would you do it? What would you do? Just, as a project for you. Just think about that. You don't have to do it. Just give it some thought. Give it some thought. Go to church tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.